Hi there, my name is Agona and this is my first ever YouTube video. I really feel called to do this video because I want to share my story. I want to share my story because I know what it did to me hearing other people's story. And also it kind of feels like a little love letter to my younger self. I remember when YouTube started to become a thing, I said to my brother that I really want to pursue YouTube. But at that time I was too young and too scared, I guess, to start. So here we are, 18 years later. Before we start, I like to give a little disclaimer if you want so. Never ever is it in my intention to bring other people into bad lighting. In fact, the reason why I hesitated making this video was because I don't like to bring other people into bad lighting. With my story, I just want to raise awareness on certain things. I also want to help and inspire people, and especially women, who've gone through similar experiences like me. It all began on it. I was born in Switzerland, and 1 year later my wonderful angel sister came to Earth. Shortly after her birth, my mom, my sister and I had to move back to Kosovo, where we originally came from. We lived there in a big house with all of my aunts, their kids and my grandparents. My mother always used to say that she really felt sorry for my sister and I that we had to live that way, but for my sister and I it was really a nice experience. We were playing the whole day in nature with all of our cousins, so it wasn't a bad experience at all. But one thing stuck with me forever. I mentioned the aunts, the kids and the grandparents. The dads, so also my dad, were usually abroad working and sending money to us for us to live. It was also post-war, so everyone was a little cautious, everyone was a little scared to do certain things. But one thing that I really kept seeing was that the women, my mother and my aunts, weren't really allowed to do anything besides cooking, taking care of the home and taking care of the kids. From a young age, I learned that women aren't only financially dependent on a man, they really also have to ask if they're even allowed to leave the house. 3 years later, my wonderful angel brother came to Earth, and shortly after his birth, we were allowed to come back to Switzerland. I remember coming back to Switzerland, my father seemed to be changed. He was much more angry, much more stressed. Due to his angriness, my parents used to fight every single day. From a young age, I've been always very wise. I knew certain things, I felt certain things, and the way my father was treating my mother and also us, I knew had nothing to do with us and everything to do with him. So I used to protect my mother. So it happens that my father started to physically abusing my mother, me and my sister. It got to a point where he wouldn't stop until someone would lose consciousness. Sometimes I would pretend to lose consciousness just so he would stop. I remember this was the last time he laid hands on my sister and I. I was 16 years old. We were in Kosovo. My father and I and my sister got into an argument, and it happens that he started beating us in front of family members. It was really the first time that others saw how he would treat us. And it got to that point that my sister and I started bleeding from everywhere, we were swollen from everywhere, and it started to become a thing in the family. Everyone was talking about it. One cousin came to me and she was like, "You know, Agona, I really feel you should stop doing a drama out of this. My father also physically abuses me every single day, and I'm not doing a drama like you do. This is completely normal." There I knew this is not okay. It shouldn't be normalized that people, women, children, animals get abused. This shouldn't be normalized. I want to say this very clear. I am against every shape and form of abuse. And if you find yourself in a situation like that, I'm sending you all my strength to get out of the situation as soon as possible. I just want to also mention that I know that my father is not a bad person. He has a really good heart. He just was repeating what he was taught of. And also, he didn't know how to regulate his emotions. When I started to do my inner healing, I knew that I have to forgive my father. So I did. I wrote him a letter and told him that I forgive him for everything he has ever done to me. From that moment on, something changed in our dynamic. Something changed in the family, and also he started to heal. What I want to say with that is, it is not an excuse, it is never to be tolerated that someone abuses someone else. But as the one who does the inner healing, you can also inspire the hurt people to heal. Because hurt people will always hurt if they're not aware that they are hurt. So what I really learned from my upbringing was that never ever in my life do I want to be dependent on a man, no matter what. You know how they always say never? This is exactly why. In 2018, I met my now ex-boyfriend. And I was never really the one who was into men or relationships. I was more so into money and how to become wealthy. When I met him, he told me that he also is not that much into love, into relationship. He more so is interested into making money, how to become wealthy, and at that time he also had his own business. So I thought maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. So it happens that we became a couple for 6 years. In that time, I also opened up my own beauty studio. And I was too afraid to start all of my own, so I was searching for a part-time job. He then offered me that I could work at his place because he was also searching someone. And I thought, for some months, I can work at his place part-time. COVID happened, his business blew up, and it happens that I stayed at his business for 5 more years. After 2 years into the relationship, I sensed that he seemed changed. He was much more angry, much more stressed. And I thought, his business has so much more work to do. He just is stressed and overwhelmed with the work. At that time, I also believed that making business is stressful, which now I know is not always the case. I don't like to look back on that relationship, to be honest, because I still cannot really put it into words what exactly happened during that time. I feel I went through major mental abuse. And everyone who experienced mental abuse knows that at a certain point you start questioning your own insanity. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my own thinking. I didn't trust what I was feeling, what I was saying. I thought the only one who really knows it the best was him. I really feel this was a big lesson in my life path, which I had to go through to realize that I really don't need anyone. I don't need a man. I don't need to live the life my mother, my ancestor, had to live. I also want to say clearly that I don't feel anything towards my ex-boyfriend. I know he's going to watch this, so I wish you all the best. I am not mad about anything that have happened. I really feel that some people just love the way they were taught of. They don't know it better. And never ever would I grieve about that. Never ever would I hold these bad emotions towards people like that. In September 2024, I planned a trip for us to Rome. And you know how they always say in Rome is something magical, every way fans back to Rome. I really feel in Rome happened something for me. Something in Rome clicked. I planned the trip for 4 days, and 3 days of it we didn't really speak together. Because there was a reason for him to fight. After these 4 days, I thought to myself, I am done. I don't have any energy left for this anymore. I'm sure this is not the way a relationship should work. Even though I've been financially stable, I was safe. I had everything I ever dreamt of. But the one thing that I lost was myself, was my heart, my essence. I wasn't happy. In fact, I didn't feel anything anymore. I felt like a robot, just living a life that was not meant for me. So after this trip, I told him that I want to have a break. I don't know if I want to stay in this relationship anymore because I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't feel happy. And I said to him that to the end of the year, December 2024, I want to make a decision if I want to stay in this relationship or not. In my heart and in my head, I of course always kept hearing, Agona, you have to leave this relationship. Agona, this is not healthy for you. But because I was financially, emotionally, and socially completely dependent on him, I was too scared to leave this relationship. I thought when I leave him, I will lose everything. And I'm not even blaming him for that. It was also my fault that I have allowed this to happen. In these 3 months, I really did my deep, deep inner healing. And it was really scary. I was very afraid, but it was really the best time of my life. In 2023, I discovered the beautiful Alexis, which teaches a lot for feminine and masculine energy. After seeing her videos, I realized that I'm not really the problem in this relationship. I am not losing my mind like I was always told of, and I, to be honest, started believing that as well. But I never really embodied her work because I knew when I start embody this work, I have to leave the relationship. I didn't grow up with parents who believed in God or religion. I always felt and saw certain things. I always knew there is something, but I never really had a name for it. In these 3 months, I really dig deeper into neuroscience, spirituality, God, feminine, masculine energy, and everything the universe and God has to offer us. After this time, everything just made sense for me. Everything that I kept feeling and seeing that I never really had words to put in made sense. At that time, I had my business, my beauty studio, for 5 years. And for 5 years, it didn't make enough money for me to live on my own. And for this part, I really want to be specific with numbers because I know what it did to me seeing this number. So for 5 years, my beauty studio was making around 3,000 francs a month. But my monthly expenses at that time were around 6,135 francs. So I prayed to God. I said, God, I know you want me to leave this relationship. You want me to leave this work environment. If you truly want me to leave this and go all by myself, please, just give me 1 month where I make 6,135 francs. December 2024, I made 6,200 francs without changing anything except of praying, meditating, changing my belief system, and changing my energy environment. When I saw this, I was blown away. I thought, this is God talking to me directly, and I have to act on it now. So I split up. I said to him, I want to go on my own way. I have to go on my own way. I gave back everything that was no longer mine, and even though it didn't make quite sense in the physical world, but energetically, it was the best decision I have ever made in my life. After that, everything just kept blooming for me. Danke Gott. After this, everything just kept blooming for me. I learned how to manifest things into my life like this, and not only materialistic things, but also people, friendships, relationships, and to be honest, myself. I finally am finding back to myself, and I'm still on the way on it. I'm not there where I want to be, but there is nothing more beautiful than discovering who you truly are. There is nothing that gives you more confidence than finding out who you are and what your purpose here on earth is. My purpose here on YouTube is to give back. I want to give back my wisdom, my knowledge. I want to inspire and help people, especially women, and show them that there is another world. There is your dream life waiting of you. You can have everything you can imagine. The things in your mind are there for a reason, I promise. Thank you. Thank you if you stayed until here. Thank you for your time and your energy. If you want to learn more about energies, about spirituality, about feminine, masculine energy, and everything the universe and God has to offer us, I will be so happy to see you in my next video. Bye.